everyone. Welcome back to another Dead Talk. I'm here with my good friend Colt.
Hi, everybody.
And there has been we had something originally. We had something else planned, but there's a little bit of news. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, then we're going to tell you about it, right, Colt?
Yeah.
So yesterday, someone named Sarah Rowan. I'm not sure who she is or how she knows this, but I do think that just by judging by the other post on her Twitter, that she must be someone who knows some things. But she tweeted yesterday, Andrew Lincoln visited the set of The Walking Dead Carol Season 3 in Galicia. I think that's in Spain during November 2024. Hashtag The Walking Dead. So
Yeah.
Andrew Lincoln was on the set. Does that mean anything? Let's see what Colt thinks. What do you say, Colt?
I think it does mean something. I think he'll at least be like a background character. Like I think that there is a good chance he could be bigger than just a background character. Like it could be him like maybe even him meeting Daryl. I don't know. Or Carol. Maybe maybe one of the characters gets taken, and maybe Rick Grimes finds as part of not part of the group, but is like going to the group that has Daryl or Carol, one of them, and then they meet each other there, like he's trying to save them.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking. I just I think they like to mess with us.
I think they do too.
Yeah, I really I think that Gimple and Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln and I think the whole crew just likes to mess with the fans.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they know that someone's going to report this. You know, I mean, as much as I would love for it to be Rick, I think Andrew Lincoln's just visiting the set, just seeing a friend, kind of like, he may be something in the background. And kind of like Norman Reedus was in the Once You Live episode. Wasn't it episode 1?
I think so.
I know it's the scene where Rick's talking to his new friend. I can't remember the guy's name now. The one that was like in charge of the tunnels and Esteban. Why can't I remember that? He was such a cool character.
Yeah.
And Andrew Lincoln visited the set for season 1 of Daryl Dixon, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
That's what I thought. So I think that he probably just wanted to visit a friend, and they thought it would be funny to mess with us.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense too. I mean, Andrew Lincoln does live there in Europe, so
yeah,
it would make sense.
He could have just been, hey, I'm going to go visit a friend. As much as I would love to see Rick in season 3, I think we have a better shot of seeing Rick. If he's going to appear in one of the spinoffs, I think there's probably a better chance that he's going to appear in Dead City.
Yeah, for sure. Dead City is way more likely to happen. Just because, for one, he can fly a helicopter all the way over there to Manhattan.
Yeah,
it's not very likely he's going to fly a helicopter to Spain.
You would think that they would have to know that the CRM would have to know about what's going on in New York, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, as close as that is, if they knew about what was the Padre?
Yep.
If they knew about Padre, then they had to know what was going on in New York.
Exactly.
So
I mean,
I kind of feel like the CRM's role is going to be like the policing the United States.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense.
And so if there's a lot of shady stuff going on in New York, it would make sense that they would send in troops to try to get some order back in that area. And Rick is probably going to be the leader of the CRM, don't you? Or the military part of it, wouldn't you think?
I would think so. I mean, they all know that they, he was the one that saved them all,
Yeah, so I mean, I could,
freedom.
unless it's just like, no, I'm going back home. I've done my time. I've done my stuff. I'm going to spend the rest of, I just want a calm, peaceful existence.
Yep.
But that wouldn't really be much of a show, would it?
Yeah. Or he might just want to spend time with Judith and RJ and everybody else at the group for a while since he's been gone for so long. That maybe he'll eventually go back to it in the future.
Yeah, I kind of think that whenever we see Rick again, he's going to be
Hmm.
with his family, and
Yep,
he's not going to want to leave. But whatever threat they come up with, is going to have to be something that's so big that Rick knows he has to leave to say his family isn't safe. Him just staying there.
exactly.
That he's going to have to be the person to stand up and face this whatever this new threat is head on.
And could that threat be the one that's in New York, and he goes with Maggie to try to, you know, get Negan back to him old self, and
It
try
could
to save
be,
him from turning bad?
and it could be a kind of a thing where they go to see if they can get Negan. If they can't, then they have to put it. And then it's like, well, we're gonna try to save him, and if we can't save him, if he's too far gone, it'd be put him down.
Exactly. 'Cause, I mean, like if he knew that Negan was back there and he's back, and that Maggie told him that he was back with the old friend,
Yeah,
um, that was back, from Savior, then maybe he would actually, realize that he needs to actually, go and try to stop him from that stuff happening eventually again.
I'm gonna scroll up here because I think I saw so earlier when I was scrolling through, I saw where she had commented that a trailer was done for season 3 of Daryl Dixon. What do you think about
Hmm.
that?
That that is really cool.
I mean, we haven't seen. I do think it's really cool, but I want to see something about Dead City.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I
all we
think
had
Dead
was a
City is
teaser,
closer.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, Dead City is a lot closer. I, usually, they post trailers for either the shows, like the actual official trailers, like 40 days before the actual release of them is what I've calculated.
Okay, so let's think about that because we haven't seen. Because this is something I was thinking about earlier. We haven't seen a trailer for Dead City. Do
No.
you think that Dead City is purposely holding off so that they're not on air at the same time as The Last of Us because both of those shows will air at the same time on the same day?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Um
Do you think Dead City could be afraid of The Last of Us,
I,
or The Last of Us could be afraid of Dead City?
yeah, I think The Last of Us, or no, I think Dead City is afraid of The Last of Us just because of how big of a game franchise it was, that
Mm-hmm.
um that they would get more viewage than they would be, than Dead City would be. So
I agree. I
I think they
agree.
just want to hold off
Now,
till after.
if this was, I agree too. I think they will hold off. That's a smart decision. But now, if this
Exactly.
was season 1 of The Ones Who Live,
Hmm.
I don't. I think The Ones Who Live would get the viewers away from The Last of Us. But
Exactly. Yeah.
considering this is well, because when I think of the spinoffs, um, I would have to say that I give Daryl Dixon's number 1,
Yep.
The Ones Who Live is number 2,
Yep.
and then Dead City. And I'm just talking about the goods, the spinoffs with our main characters.
Yeah.
I don't count Fear and
Yep.
the other, no, the Tales of the Walking Dead. I'm talking about with like main story characters.
Yep.
I think that Dead City's kind of, at least from what we've seen, season 1, as good as it is. And I know I talked about it before, but since we've been doing a rewatch, Colt and I,
Hmm.
on Sunday nights, and I have a greater appreciation for it the second time watching it than I did the first time.
Exactly. Yeah.
But still, I do think it's, out of the 3, it's the weakest of the 3.
Yeah, I do. I do agree with that. I mean, I think even maybe season two, especially if they add Rick Grimes to it, that could bump it up to number one or number two for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if they are okay, so if they are afraid to air at the same time as The Last of Us, if of course they don't want to tease it because they don't want to give anything away. But could you imagine if they said at the beginning of the season that Andrew Lincoln would make an appearance at some point during the series run? That would totally
Yeah,
swing the viewership away from The Last of Us, I think, too, or at least the fans that watch both shows.
exactly.
I think fans would watch the Dead City either on, they would either watch it on AMC Plus, way before it ever
Mhm.
airs, or they would choose to watch Dead City over The Last of Us.
Exactly.
But I mean, in this day,
Yeah.
most people, they watch on apps or they record and watch after, and so you don't. It's not like you can only watch one anymore anyway. I
Mhm.
mean, But so let me ask you this: which show will you be if you can only pick one to watch? Of course, when it comes out. I mean, I know you have AMC Plus, so you'll probably watch Dead City ahead of time. But if you could
Yep.
only watch one that night and then have to watch the other one later, which one would you watch? The Last of Us or Dead City?
I think just based of how good of a how big of a fan I am of the Walking Dead series, I would have to choose Dead City.
And see,
I would have to.
I love The Walking Dead and I love The Last of Us, but I think I would probably go with The Last of Us just because I want to see how they're gonna. I know the story already, and I want to see how they're gonna play it out on the screen. But it would be hard for me now if this was like the main Walking Dead show or
Mm-hmm.
Daryl Dixon or something with Rick. I would choose that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for me, I think it's just like solely based on we don't already know what is possibly going to happen in Dead City. Like there was no comic about Dead City. There was no no video game based on it. And so I think it just intrigues me more just to see what's going to happen and like all the hype that they are with bringing the old Negan back and like just the possibility of Rick maybe coming back or maybe appearing somehow in that spinoff. I
That is
think
a
just
very
that
good point.
alone is enough to bring me to that city.
That is a very good point. And it's something I hadn't thought of. It'll be hard for me to decide on which one to watch. I really think that we're probably going to get, just from the time frame, I think we're going to get The Last of Us season 2 first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably about halfway through The Last of Us season 2 season,
Mm-hmm.
Dead City will start. Because I think the name of it is, they have some show right now. It's about Navajo Indian cops. I can't remember the name of it. It's like Lost something.
Okay.
I think it's season 2, and I think it's getting. I think it either started or it's getting ready to start this coming Sunday. And I believe the way that The Last of Us, what I've seen, and makes me think that it's maybe going to start April 13th. So I could see maybe half of that season playing out before Dead City comes back because we haven't gotten a trailer yet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Um, what I really think could happen in Dead City, or maybe even Daryl Dixon season 3, is like maybe a Gabriel type situation, like happened in The Ones Who Live,
Yeah,
but with Rick Grimes instead of a different character. And I think maybe one of the seasons could lead to them announcing or them teasing a different spinoff, but with like the Alexandria people, like with maybe Gabriel and Aaron or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Maybe like a secret like kind of like message like within the last episode of either of those. I think there is going to be a spinoff with some other character, whether it's Gabriel and Aaron or if it's Ezekiel and Mercer, whoever it is. I think that will almost even be better than Dead City or even Daryl Dixon if they do a spinoff like with those other characters.
I would love to see. I'd love to see something with Gabriel, but if I had to pick one character that we haven't seen in a while to have a spinoff just about them, it would be Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I think because when I think of like the best characters, I think Rick Michonne, Daryl, Negan, Maggie, and Morgan.
Yep.
Lost it for a minute. I love Morgan's character. I mean, he's the second character that we met, really, when you think about it, and he's still with
Yep.
us.
Yeah, he's the most likely. He would be the most or the one that would make the most sense to have another spinoff, just because he was there within the first episode, you know.
Yeah, and his
And Negan and Maggie weren't in the first episode either, but they still had their own spinoff, so he deserves one, I think.
and the last time we saw him,
Mm-hmm.
he said he was going to look for Rick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the last thing we saw from him.
Yeah, like they can't just say that and then not eventually do something with him.
Yeah, I know. I want to see that.
And just like think of how close he was to where Alexandria and stuff was. Like he was back in Atlanta, right? Which
Yeah,
it didn't seem to take him very long to get from Atlanta to where Alexandria and stuff is. Just think if he would have just went a little farther, just to Alexandria and stuff, he he would have seen the other cast members and stuff too. That's what I wish they would have done. Is they would have had him, like be like, well, since I talked about Rick Grimes a lot in this episode of the or not Dead City of the Fear, then I'll just go over to beat the rest of the cast again.
Yeah. I mean, they teased it so hard that I don't
Yeah.
see how they. I don't see how they. I'm trying to find something right now too that I want to talk about next. But yeah, I don't see how they could do that or why
And
they would
same
do
with
that.
same with Dwight too, because Dwight was right there at Sanctuary
Yeah,
too.
I wanted to see him show up.
Yeah.
And I think he could show up in. It would be interesting to see him show up in Dead City and confront
Yeah.
Negan.
Yep.
So I was gonna say that of all the places that Rick could turn up, I think he's probably gonna turn up either in Dead City or in Dead by Daylight first before he'd show up in
Yep.
in
Daryl Dixon.
Daryl Dixon. And the reason I say that is if you don't know, Dead by Daylight is a game. Colt and I both play it. We both stream it on our channels. But last week, Chandler Riggs made a cameo. If you don't know or if you've forgotten it, I can't imagine anyone who loves Dead by Daylight wouldn't know who I'm talking about. But he played Carl Grimes. But he made a cameo saying that if Dead by Daylight made a Walking Dead chapter, he would love to be in it. And he would love to see Rick in it. That would be my dream chapter.
It would be.
And if they did it, I can't imagine they could do it justice if they didn't have Carl in it, like Rick and Carl as the characters.
Exactly.
What do you think about that?
I think that would be. I think that would drive so much people back to Dead by Daylight. Like especially the Walking Dead fans.
Yes.
It would just drag so much attention back to them that I think they would go from being like a moderate, like having a moderate players to having like a ton of players again.
Yeah,
Like,
because
tons.
it grew giant when they added the Stranger Things to it.
Yep.
And the Walking Dead. I mean, I love Stranger Things. Don't get me wrong, but Stranger Things on one side, the Walking Dead universe on the other. The fandom is so much more massive than Stranger Things fan base.
It is.
I mean, people who have probably never even heard of Dead by Daylight would know what Dead by Daylight was then.
Exactly.
So I feel like they have to do it. I think it's probably coming next year. We don't know if you don't know, Dead by Daylight puts a new chapter out about every 4 months. No, every 3 months. And I think they're already kind of spoken for this year. I don't know. They did release a statement today saying that they were going to they would be delaying all of their chapters the rest of this year. Starting with the next one would be delayed, and then the next it would just cause everything to be delayed a little bit. But I think about a few weeks. So I don't know, but man, that would be such a great treat to have The Walking Dead in the game. And they licensed them into other games. They've been in COD.
Yep.
Weren't they in Fortnite? Yeah.
Yep. Fortnite. Yep. Fortnite, COD. Trying to remember other games.
I don't know if
there is a few other games I know of.
There's a lot of Roblox stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot of Roblox though.
Speaking of which, Colt found a really neat thing in Roblox for the Walking Dead, and we were thinking about maybe doing a special episode of Dead Talk, talking about it and looking at it. Let us know if you'd like to see that in a comment, or maybe we should live stream it or something.
Yeah, live stream sounds amazing too. Maybe both.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. And Colt, do you have anything you want to talk about?
That just based if Dead by Daylight did bring The Walking Dead to it, I would for sure have a new main character. 1,000%.
I would too. Who do you think would be a really good villain for it? Because Dead by Daylight has really survivors and killers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you.
Oh no, you're fine. I was gonna say I think Negan would be a really good killer. Just solely based on all of his funny voice lines and his baseball bat Lucille.
Yeah, I agree. And if you don't know, in Dead by Daylight, there is a music that plays when the killer's close to you that you can hear, and I could see the whistle
Yep,
the Negan does being the that sound that you hear. It's I mean, as a fan, there's so many great ideas. There's so many great cosmetics that they could have in the game for
yep,
these characters. And like you said, the
exactly.
voice lines.
Hmm.
You know, you'd have to have the Rick head tilt and wood. But yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I would have to see the Negan and I fed him spaghetti, voice line, and I would have to see that.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, we've talked before about all the voice lines. Negan can have so many good voice lines.
Killer or Survivor.
He's had so many iconic moments in the show. I can't imagine anyone else playing him other than Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yep,
I mean,
he was absolutely perfect for it.
I wasn't sold on him at first. I knew he was a great actor because I'd seen him in so many other things, but I thought
Yep,
Negan should have been bigger because in the comic he's like 6'6", 6'5", just this massive. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan has the charisma.
yeah,
I
yep,
mean, he's just amazing in that role. I mean,
he is.
he made you hate. I mean, think about it. He made you hate him, and then he made you love him.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you watch the show and you don't love Negan, then I think you're lying.
You're just lying to yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's okay if you just say that you hated him, and it's okay. I mean, it's okay to say that you love him now. I mean, I
Yeah,
hated him
exactly.
when he killed Glenn, but then I thought, he kind of grew on me, and then I was like, man, I really like this guy. And then I kind of felt bad that I liked him, and then it was just I just like him, especially when he saved Judith.
Exactly. And if you think about it, like if we would have followed Negan and the Saviors the entire time, we would have seen
Yeah,
that Negan. We would have seen Negan's group as the good people and Rick's group as the bad people.
yeah,
Same with Alpha's group and that kind of stuff.
yeah. If we'd followed all of them,
Yep.
we would have seen them different.
Yep.
Now we were talking about characters that we could see coming back, and I want to talk about Dwight a minute because I just thought about it. The last time that we saw Dwight when he was on on the main show, that's when he left, and Daryl told him he would kill him if he ever saw him again.
Yep.
That was before Negan escaped, and Negan redeemed himself. Do you think that Daryl would still kill Dwight if he saw him again, or do you think Daryl has grown and changed to a point where he would give him a second chance, considering he was only doing what he was made to do by Negan, and he's okay with Negan?
I think just based on how Daryl was like starting to be like season 8 Rick, like he just wanted to just kill everybody, and then I think around when season 11 came along, he was starting to turn into like the old Rick that was in season
Yeah,
9 where he kind of was like, well, I mean, I don't need to kill this person, but like I think he would choose just not to kill him.
yeah. I don't think he would either. I think he would. I think he would be okay with him because
Yeah,
I mean, everything that Dwight did some terrible stuff, but
he
everything
did.
Dwight did, he was told to do by Negan.
Yep. Otherwise
And
he would have been killed or
yeah, I mean, and he was already horribly scarred by Negan. Had his wife
exactly.
taken from Negan,
Yep.
you know. So yeah, I think Daryl would, especially with what Daryl went through with oh, what's the guy's name? The guy that was gonna the guy in France, the one who lost his eye. You know who I'm thinking of?
Oh,
I can never remember the French people's names, but
yeah.
he was the guy that was after Daryl and then let Daryl go in season 1 and then helped Daryl and
Yeah.
Laurent in season 2.
Yep.
And I think with what he went through with that character, that he's grown really a lot. And I don't think that he would kill Dwight. They may
I don't
not.
think he would either.
I mean, I don't think they're ever going to pick out curtains together and be friends, but I don't think he would kill him either.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even after all that Daryl was put through by Negan, Daryl still chose to save Negan from Beta.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he could have waited till Beta killed Negan, then kill him, but he didn't. He killed him. That was such a good scene.
It was.
I love that when the mask comes off and Negan says, "Do you know who that is?" Or something. Do you know who that is? And he says, "Just some a-hole." I
Oh,
love that scene.
Cojone. Cojone was his name.
Who?
Cojone.
Oh, okay. The guy from Daryl
The one
Dixon.
eye.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that character, I didn't like him, and I didn't like him at the beginning, but when after he let Daryl go, and then as we got to know him more in season 2, I really liked his character.
Yeah, like The Walking Dead was really good with making you like characters, like making you hate characters and then making you like them. The
Yeah,
only
I
one that they
agree.
didn't really do that with was Gareth, the governor, and Shane. You know, because Shane was the main antagonist in season 2.
Yeah, and I really liked Shane to begin with,
Yeah,
and they did a really good job of taking the character that they made you like and making you not like.
exactly.
And I never liked the only character that I've never liked at all was Lori.
Yep, same with mine.
Yeah,
Andrea, I was never really a fan of Andrea either. She was just,
she was just
I don't know, she
there.
was kind of annoying.
Yeah,
It's kind of like what Lori was too. She was really annoying, but was, you know, she's the one that actually, made Rick have to kill Shane. So
she really was. And I think if they had just told Rick from the beginning what had happened, that Rick would have understood.
yep,
And then it would have been like, okay, just who do you want to be with?
yep,
But
yeah,
they chose to keep that secret too long.
yeah, way too long. And then, Shane, with her keeping it from, Rick and knowing that she was keeping it from Rick, made him think that he had a chance with Lori.
Yeah, and then even Lori telling Shane, it's Rick's, and even if it's not, it's Rick's. That wasn't right.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Yeah,
all really kind of crapped on Shane.
yeah. And then she got mad at Rick killing Shane,
Yeah,
even though she was the one that was telling him in the tent, and that a couple seasons before, they had that fight. Was that Shane's dangerous. He thinks the baby's his, and he thinks
yeah.
that I'm his.
If Lori had just like if Lori had died before Rick was found, or
Hmm.
right around the time Rick was found,
Yeah.
Shane would still be in the show. He would have been in the
Yep.
show up until it ended, I think. Or he might have
Yep.
been Negan may have had to have killed Shane instead of Abraham, because he didn't want to he couldn't kill Rick because he had to save the leader and make the leader bend to him. But he
Hmm.
could have killed the next alpha,
Yep.
and that would have been Shane. Could you imagine how the show would have been different if Shane had been in it all the way up until the lineup?
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that happened would not have happened if Shane was.
Yeah, so many characters
Yeah.
might still be around.
Hmm. Maybe Carl wouldn't have died.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause maybe Shane would have told Rick, you need to stop worrying about this Negan guy, and you need to
Or think
keep your eye on Carl.
think about how Carl would have been different.
Hmm.
Carl might have been a lot harder.
Yep.
He may not have cared if he saved Sadiq.
Yep. And then he would have been still alive, and then
Yeah,
Sadiq would have just died anyway, and
yeah.
not have Carl die in the first place.
Which was so lame.
Yeah. Like
I
if you're
hated
gonna have that
Sadiq for
happen.
that, and it wasn't
Yeah,
his fault. But I just hated the character.
exactly. The
And
actor was good. I
yeah,
just
yeah.
didn't like the character.
He I was so mad that they killed Carl.
Yeah, I was too. Like that almost made me just not ever watch the show ever again.
Yeah, I had a hard time. That was the only 2 times I've ever turned it off in the middle of an. Okay, so 3 times. That episode with Carl, whenever he
Yep.
revealed that he had been bitten, I
Mhm.
stopped it and had to wait a little bit before I could go back. The other one was whenever Glenn was on. What Glenn got? We thought Glenn died the first time, and when he hid under the dumpster, I stopped
Yeah,
right then. I said, "No, I can't watch any more of this," and I just turned it off and walked away. And I don't think I watched the rest of it till the next morning. And
yeah.
then the other time was whenever they um, actually killed Glenn.
Hmm.
And I had a hard time finishing the one where Andrew Lincoln left the show, but I knew he was going to still. I knew that there was more for him.
Yep.
But that was such a good show. But to see all the characters breaking down, that was, I really get into the show. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say sometimes I've cried many times watching The Walking Dead.
I have too, and I'm not ashamed to say that either, because that's what makes it a good show. Is if it can give you a ride of emotions.
Yeah, I mean
That's
that's
what
one
a
of
show is
those.
supposed to do.
It's one of those shows that it's made me laugh, it's made me scared, and it's made me
Yep.
cry.
Exactly, and it's made me happy too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's four major emotions that it's able to bring out.
Hmm. Because
Okay,
The Walking Dead is so good with getting you to like characters so much that you feel like you know them, like you feel like you know them
exactly.
personally.
And I think that's where Fear failed
Yep, exactly.
because the only character I really cared. Okay, so not of course not Morgan because even though Morgan was on it, there's only a
Hmm.
few characters that I really cared about, and one was Alicia,
Yep.
and I really liked John Dory. And when they killed him, I was
Yeah.
like, man, what is it with them shooting? What is it with these? They didn't just kill him; they kill him with like these weak characters.
Exactly.
I'm not against a major character dying, but at least give them a death that means something.
Exactly.
The little girl just shot him.
Hmm.
They did it with Nick, and they did it with John Dory.
Exactly.
And it was just such a stupid way to die both times, but to do it
It
again, it's
was.
like, how can you not come up with something better?
I know.
And like Travis, I never really cared much about Travis. The actor's a great actor. I just never cared that much about the character.
Yeah, and like the way that they killed the girl that Morgan was, friends with, was, together with.
Yeah, what was her name?
I can't think of her name at this
Yeah, I
moment.
can't either.
But the way that they killed her, like just by a single walker that was, in like the ashes there, like at the house
Yeah,
that had burned down. That was so stupid.
I agree. They made a lot of bad choices on that show. The
Did
writing was
that?
pretty bad.
'Cause I started to like her as a character too.
See,
You
to
know.
me, one of the things that separated The Walking Dead from other zombie stuff was
Hmm.
that it wasn't cheesy.
Exactly.
And Fear definitely had a cheese factor.
It did.
It wasn't as bad as like Z Nation, which was terrible. Uh, that, anything that has DJ Qualls in it, it's gonna be
Hmm.
corny.
Yep.
If you don't know who I'm talking about, he's like if do you remember that guy Ernest from like Ernest Saves Halloween or Ernest and the Trolls or whatever?
Yep.
I
Yep.
think that could pass as his son, which
Ernest
is
goes to camp or whatever it's called.
yeah. Ernest goes to camp, and which is kind of funny when I saw a meme the other day and I hadn't thought about it, and it's totally off topic, but it had a picture of John Cena and it said that John Cena looked like Ernest with muscles, and I thought,
It kind of does.
so they could make one called Ernest Goes to Steroids. Ernest Goes to WrestleMania. Anyway, but yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. We're about 30 minutes, so we're gonna kind of wrap it up. We have other episodes of this. We every other week we switch which channel we're on, so please give Colt's channel a look. It will be linked in the description. And the last episode we did on Colt's channel, we ranked the heroes of the Walking Dead universe. You should check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Just make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and post notifications so you get notified when we post a video, and you can keep updated with our Dead Talk videos. We're going to be posting a lot more, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna And we're also doing a watch along. If you want to do that with us, we're doing a watch along of Dead City. We're going to do a lot of Walking Dead content as it comes up and as news comes up.
Yep.
Excuse me. We're also going to do a tier list for the villains coming up really soon. We just had this news and we wanted to talk about it. So yeah, we hope to see you in a future episode.
Yeah, see everybody in the next video.
All right, bye.